Hello, precious humans. I'm Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of July 25th through August 1st, 2021. And I will go ahead and just say rabbit, rabbit for the August 1st date. Yeah, it's a little superstition, fun kind of thing of welcoming fertility and abundance and kind of setting the stage for the new month that begins in the calendar. It's not a new month as far as the astrological pieces go, because that happens when the sun moves into the next sign. And we are still in Leo territory, and we're going to remain here until August 22nd, 23rd, when the sun moves into Virgo. But let's not get too far ahead, because we just had the sun moving into Leo. And that happened this last week. And we had a full moon in Aquarius. So this was at the very early stages. Here we are working with integrating anything that may have popped up for us with this full moon. It should have been a fairly friendly full moon, because we are dealing with Aquarius, who loves to connect and be with friends and have this wonderful exchange of ideas. And it helps to bond from a mental place, as well as definitely taking the water bearer energy, where you take all the emotions and all these feelings, and then you pour them into the container, and then it's transmuted. It is taken from the emotional body and moved into the mental body, so that these two can work together. And Aquarius has this wonderful way of being able to transmute the emotional body, if you will, into ideas that help fuel us or innovate us and progress us into the future. And so with this particular full moon, hopefully we are now making that turn into, hey, I can see this future, and I know that I can make a difference because I've healed some past stuff. I've let go of certain ideas that may have held me back from taking some risks, so that I can see the rewards that come from living from a heart space. Because we're dealing with the sun in Leo, and the sun rules Leo, as well as in the body, it rules the heart. And so here we are working with, hopefully, this heart-centered energy, where again we take the ideas, the mental body, move it into the heart, and then allow ourselves to live from that place. And in doing so, we can offer ourselves as a sacrament, as a gift to each other, to the world. And this helps to progress us into the next stage of consciousness. Now, the other thing that we have going on this week, so we're going to be integrating a lot of those ideas. And then what we're going to be looking at this week in particular is Jupiter, who is retrograding until October 18th. Right now, currently, it's in Pisces. However, on the 28th, on Wednesday, it moves back into the sign of Aquarius, where it started at the beginning of the year. And so here we are, we're going to be revisiting certain things inside of ourselves. So Jupiter retrograding, back into the sign of Aquarius, the first part of this year. So it went into Pisces back in May. And so think of, January through May, some of the themes that showed up, now it's coming back. And this is more internal growth. This is an opportunity for us to look inside of ourselves and see where we can find more personal growth, where we can have the potential for great luck and abundance, because we're doing our internal work. This is where Jupiter is a planet of luck and abundance, knowledge, wisdom, growth, and expansion. So keep that in mind. When it retrogrades, it pulls back in. And so we're looking at it from the inside out. And when we do, we can look at Jupiter as well as the teacher or the guru, because Jupiter wants to develop this higher mind. And so here we are looking inside of ourselves saying, I'm the teacher. I have this inner wisdom. How do I tap into that in a way that allows me to find more truth and speaking truth to myself? And here, Jupiter being retrograde in Aquarius is going to help us to revamp or to restructure the ideas that we hold about our belief systems, because our beliefs drive our behaviors. And so when we look back at the beginning of the year and how we were acting, the things we were thinking, the beliefs we were holding that may need now to come back to us and be redone, reborn, and innovated so that we can progress forward in our lives, whether we're talking personal, professional, spiritual, because we are not just human doings, we are human beings. So we're looking at this from the bigger picture inside of ourselves, and we're saying, okay, in this particular interaction, the idea that I hold about this person, or the idea that I hold about relationship, the idea I hold about finances. So keep that in mind. And I keep bringing us back to the idea because Aquarian energy is, I think, therefore I am. I have this idea. I believe in this idea with Jupiter here. And therefore, because I believe so strongly in this, I now am going to take an action that lines up with that belief. And so we're working with transforming, or Pluto is more of the transformation, but Jupiter is about allowing us to expand, and Aquarius is about transmuting or receiving this higher wisdom that we can now allow ourselves to be a little bit more rebellious about the way in which we express our ideas. And rebellion can be a negative thing. At the same time, when it's internal, it can make us feel restless. It can make us feel as though we're maybe a little more nervous than usual. However, it's what creates change. It helps us to break free of status quo. And that's what we're looking at, is what belief systems are we holding on to that is keeping us stuck in the mundane, in the status quo. Because remember the idea, or the quote, if you will, about insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. This is now going to be a time where we look at those patterns, those things in our lives that need to be freed and need to be changed. And if it was comfortable, we wouldn't change it. So we may be feeling a little more restless over the next couple of months. Now, Mercury also enters Leo on the same day that Jupiter moves back into Aquarius. And so we're going to be expressing our opinions with confidence, hopefully, with Mercury here. It likes being in Leo. And we may find that as we're doing this deeper internal work, that we're saying, oh, I've got this. I know what I believe. I can, express myself in such a way that, people need to listen. And yes, while that can be true, we have to be careful that our pride doesn't get in the way, because that can be our greatest challenge with Mercury and Leo, is staying open to learning, staying open to new ideas, because we may think we have all the answers inside of us, and then we can come across as a know-it-all. And that is a little off-putting. However, it can, if we are willing to watch the amount of confidence that we have, because there's a fine line between confidence and cocky, right? And so what we're working with Mercury here in Leo is that we're able to move into this internal place with Jupiter and look at our belief systems, transforming them, changing them, transmuting, and really getting clear on our truth. And this is a time where I will also say that many of us who are working with relationship dynamics, we will start to gather new information, maybe some clarity about a person or a situation that wasn't there before. And with Mercury here in Leo, it's almost like you can't help yourself but express what it is that you think, what you feel, and all of your opinions about a particular matter. And that shows a little bit more about where you're at, right? And so if you have been wondering, is this person really genuine? Is this person who they say they are? You'll find out during this transit of Mercury in Leo while Jupiter is retrograde in Aquarius. There's also an emphasis here of loyalty when it comes to friendships. So definitely don't be talking bad about another person's friend, or you may be dealing with an issue with a particular person talking badly about your friends, and that could bring out that lion in you that is like, no way, I'm going to tear you apart. You do not touch anything to do with my friendships, with my relationships that are important to me. So this can also be a time where you get really protective of those that you care most about. Now, we also have Mars moving into Virgo the next day on the 29th, and this is a great placement for getting things done, being really productive. So if you feel like you've been a little more playful than usual, yeah, with Mars and Leo, it's a tendency to want to play more than work. Well, here comes Mars moving into Virgo, and we're going to start to feel like, okay, it's time to get some things done. Now, that doesn't mean you can't enjoy vacation and you can't enjoy the summer and whatever may be happening in your life. However, you're going to be most likely fueled by fixing things. So your fun time may be more about getting things done. So it's possible that you're looking around at your life, your relationships, even just tangible things, depends on where Mars is transiting in your chart, but you may be fueled to fix the things that you think need improvement. This is a great time for attention to detail, a great time for executing, working with your hands, perfecting your craft. And so you may be driven to fine tune everything. Just be careful, because this also can make us very critical of our partners. It can make us very critical of each other. It can make us critical about ourselves. And so in doing so, we're looking at, where am I imperfect and how do I fix it? Which, you know, I, I struggle, because I think that we're perfectly imperfect as we are, and really working towards integrating our shadow. Yes, we should improve. There's areas of our lives that we can develop. However, to go into that overly critical place only serves to bring us down and to cause us maybe to feel inadequate or less than. And that often can create attitudes that are not beneficial. It can also create nagging. So if you and let's say you're partnered with somebody or you're dating somebody, you start to look at all the things that are wrong in the relationship, because we know that where attention goes, energy flows. So we could start looking at faults and pointing those faults out. And honestly, nobody really wants to be around that. Now, a great way in which we can use this energy is that we can accept our faults and we can say, this is how I'm improving them. So in other words, let's just say, for example, I know for myself that I can be overly critical and start analyzing myself in a way that is not necessarily productive or positive. So I work with someone who is more positive, maybe a therapist or a coach or, astrologer, and being able to say, okay, these are the tools that I have for fixing or for developing some of these areas in my life that I feel are maybe inadequate. And so these are the ways in which we can take a more positive approach to it, to say, yes, I do have a tendency to talk over you. However, what I'm doing now to work on that is to take a step back and breathe and pause before I launch into whatever I'm about to say. So the other way that we can use this Mars and Virgo energy for a positive productivity is to have projects. That's a lot of PR words, I know, but a lot of projects to work on. And these will be beneficial for an outlet. We need an outlet for this energy. Mars needs to push out its energy into the world. Think of the glyph that we use in astrology, which is the circle of spirit, and then the arrow, which is the energy pushing out. And so what we need is to penetrate this energy by moving it into productive projects. So working with our hands or putting things into an organized form, making it beautiful, spending time. Let's say if you're an artist, you want to spend time on perfecting that art. And so, I always see Mars and Virgo as being the woodworker or the craftsman, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to keep using the word craftsman, but we're carpenter. That's the word. I'm looking for carpenter. And so I think of people who are making things out of wood, or they're making things out of earth, or, the potter and the clay. This is very Virgo because it's an earth energy. And so that would be a great benefit, especially, let's say, ladies, if you enjoy working with your hands and you want to have a party and mix things up, invite your friends to go to one of those painting parties, right? Or the wine and design kind of places. Those are always fun. And so that's a good outlet for you to connect and to be together, especially as the Sun and Mercury are canoodling on Saturday and Sunday. And this is where the mind needs an outlet as well, because it could take over the heart. Mercury being the mental planet, the one that likes to learn and connect and communicate. And then the Sun, which gives us energy and purpose and creativity and positivity. And it rules the heart. Like I said, Mercury rules the mind. So we have to watch when Mercury is racing with the Sun here and canoodling, that it could be where our mind wants to take over where the heart should be. So if we're trying to make decisions, oftentimes we'll let logic take over. And so we want to work with, that bungee cord kind of feeling between the mind and the heart. Ideas have to be shared during this time. So it's a great time to connect. It's a great time to share ideas, more willing to talk to each other. So if you have felt like you couldn't be as social as you wanted to, this is a time where you can actually find the energy to become more social, more playful with each other. It's also a great time, like I mentioned before, about revelation or sharing of information. This is a time where it can come out. So if you are wanting to know a little bit more about somebody or something, ask these questions, share your opinions, share your ideas, but also stay open to their opinions and their ideas. And now there's this tantric relationship that gets set up where the two of you or the group of you are able to see each other as you are, and you're able to get on the same page. I would also say this isn't necessarily the week where a lot of feelings are shared, but there will be a lot of passion. There should be a lot of ideas, and there should be some really good exchange of communication that allows you to take in information. It's a good information gathering week that allows you then to make some decisions that will be necessary in the upcoming weeks, especially when it comes to love and relationships, because I sense that that is going to be a trigger point for most of us, where we want to connect deeper with a particular individual. And so here we're gathering the information about the individual, or about, let's say you're in a couple situation that you want to talk more about a particular idea that is going to change the dynamics between the two of you. Could be moving in together, starting a family, changing careers that could have you and your partner moving, all kinds of things like that. But this is a time where negotiations and talk are going to be really important as you gather information. So think of this week, again, the overall theme. We're revisiting the inner wisdom, the truth, the guru, if you will, inside of ourselves. And how do we progress our lives forward? How do we break out of status quo? And then we're going to be looking at as well, how can we be productive with these ideas? How can we take all this information and put it into a tangible, useful format? And how do we connect with each other in a way that is positive, playful, and open to learning and sharing ideas, and learning and sharing more about each other? This is how we continue to progress through the consciousness. All right, you guys, I certainly hope that this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Find me at jamiedawn.com, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have such a good week.